Okay. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this meeting of the Troutdale Planning Commission for Wednesday, June 10th, 2026. If we could have a roll call, please.
Commissioner Glantz.
Present.
Commissioner Minkoff.
Here.
Commissioner Kester.
Would not be here this evening.
Commissioner Prickett. Here. Commissioner Wilcox.
Here.
Chair Stephenson.
Here.
And Commissioner Allen.
Here.
All right, at this time, I would like to ask everyone to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, and Commissioner Minkoff will be leading us this evening.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Two.
All right. Is there anyone wishing to speak to the Planning Commission this evening on a non-agenda item? No? Okay. Seeing none, we will move on to minutes. And the first one is minutes from April 29th, 2026. Everyone receive a copy of those. And do we have corrections? We'll go to Commissioner Wilcox first.
I actually gave my corrected copy to Dakota, so hopefully he'll hold up on that.
Okay.
It was mostly spelling errors.
It was non-substantive.
I had a couple.
Go ahead, Commissioner Glantz.
On page 4, third paragraph down, last sentence is Chair Glantz pulled the motion.
Yeah, I did see that. We're just trying to move you up in the world.
That was it on those minutes. I have some on the other ones, but yeah.
Okay, and let's see, on that first one, okay, which is April 29th, we had continued hearing, right? If I remember correctly. One of those was continued.
Correct.
And I don't think we referenced that in here at all. Actually, that might be the next one. No, that is May 13th. That's sorry. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Are we covering 13 at the same time?
No, we'll probably do these. Well, we can move on to 13. So if we're blistering along to May 13th.
I have a question for Commissioner Wilcox. I reference you kind of like I would the encyclopedia or the dictionary. You're rather good at these things. So it says Commissioner Allen stated that the developer will not necessarily care who is living in the development and is concerned that there will not be enough parking in these developments. I'm not so sure that's exactly how I would have said it, because the developer doesn't care. The developer isn't always the person who owns a development. They oftentimes would develop it, sell it off. Sometimes they keep it, sometimes they don't. But I'm finding that often they won't keep it. And they don't necessarily care because they're not the business trying to do business in there. And they're not so concerned about whether or not the people that live there have sufficient parking, right? It's not usually their concern. They're more get it in, develop it, get it sold, and move on to the next one. So my question is isn't this kind of a misstatement the way it's written? Because it kind of sounds like they're not concerned who lives in there, but they are concerned about not having that there will not be enough parking. And I don't think they would be concerned that there would not be enough parking. So I would think that isn't would be the correct word, or wouldn't be concerned that there is not enough parking.
Okay.
Would you happen to know?
Well, it's your quote you're trying to correct, so
Yeah.
it's up to you.
I placed the wouldn't
Wouldn't would be more clear. So replace the word is to
is
wouldn't.
wouldn't. Yeah, got it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, anything else? Okay, on the first page of that one, which is 6 of 10, right, of the packet, we're talking about the hearings. And I think we need to reference that it was continued. The sign was continued from April
29th.
29th. And text amendments was from April 8th, I believe. So both of those were continued. I think that needs to be stated. Everyone's okay with that? Not a big deal, but then when we get to page 3, second paragraph from the bottom, we say Myers explained DLCD, probably should be Meyer. You probably had that one, Paul.
Actually, I missed that one.
And then in the next paragraph, not a big deal, but Stephenson stated that raising it from 60 to 65% probably should be 60% to 65%. Percent on both of those. And that's what I had. Anything else? Okay. Entertain a motion to approve April 29th and May 15th.
I had one on the 29th still.
Oh, I'm sorry. What do you want?
On page 7, very first word is glance as in looking, not as in a name.
On the 29th?
Paul caught that one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, what else did you have?
That was it.
That's it? Okay.
Yep.
All right. Both of those would be as amended.
I move that we accept the minutes of April 29th, 2026 regular planning commission meeting as amended.
Okay.
Second.
Do you want to do the other one too? Okay.
I also recommend that we approve the meeting minutes of May 13th, 2026 regular meeting of the planning commission as amended.
Second.
Okay. All right, so we have a motion and a second for approving the meeting minutes as amended for April 29th, 2026, and for May 13th, 2026. We'll just take that as one motion. All right. Any discussion? No? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. We are moving along. Okay, next order of business would be a TCAB sentence for someone for a year.
Who do we punish today?
We need to set someone for the Town Center Advisory Board, and this is actually, we have to do that now, but it goes into effect July 1st through June 30th, I believe, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Who is it currently?
It is Shirley Prickett.
What a fine job she's done.
She has.
I nominate Shirley Prickett.
Second.
I'll give that to Sandy.
Okay, and any other nominations for TCAB? this year of July 1st to June 30th.
In all fairness, TCAP's made up of people that are, really good to be with.
Okay. All right, with that, all those in favor of, well, I guess I would say now that I need to close nominations, right? Okay, all those in favor of closing nominations, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Nominations are closed. All those in favor of Shirley Prickett as the Planning Commission representative to the Town Center Advisory Board.
All those in favor say aye.
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 I don't think it needs to be roll call, correct? Yeah, okay. Opposed?
We got it.
Okay. All right. Now, Ms. Erica Palmer.
Great, thank you. Good evening, Planning Commission. Hold on one second while I pull up my screen. I share it with everyone. Just a minute here. All right, thank you for having me here this evening to talk about the Troutdale Urban Forest Master Plan project. We have been working on this project for the past 8 or so months. The city, we received a grant to do this project from the Department of Land Conservation and Development. And this project came about through our adopted Parks and Recreation Management Plan, or our Parks and Recreation Master Plan. In that plan, there are a couple of action items for the city to look at and to create its first ever urban forest management plan for the city. And that is how this project came about. So we had that action in the Parks Master Plan, and this grant came up, and we applied for it, and we were awarded the grant money to do this project. And I've been kind of going on a road show here. I went to the Community Advisory Committee last week, this week the Planning Commission, and then next week I'll be going to the Parks Advisory Committee meeting as well. And they've seen this project several times throughout this year.
Erica,
Yes.
a question from slide 1.
Yes.
You're going to be going before the Parks Advisory Committee. Question is, why is community development overseeing this rather than the parks superintendent?
So I've been working with Jonah. We've been collaborating together on this project between our two departments.
So you're the spokesperson.
I am the spokesperson. I've kind of taken that on. So with that, I do want to give a shout out to the Oregon Department of Land Conservation and Development for this grant. Our consulting team of DUDEC, and then Multnomah County Transportation Department and Friends of Trees have provided us with a lot of good best management practices for trees and given us a lot of information over the past several months. So tonight I'm going to go over the planning process, talk about community engagement, the existing conditions that are in the plan document itself, an overview of the plan document, go over the street tree manual that we have put together, and then we are looking at our street tree code and the municipal code, which is Title 13, and we are making our proposed amendments to that code. So the planning process, like I said, we've been working on this project for the past 8 months. We did an existing conditions tree inventory report, which is Exhibit A in the plan document. And I just want to apologize. I had a hard copy of the plan document to bring this evening to share with all of you. And I was in a rush to get here. I left it on my desk. But if any of you want a hard copy of any of this information that is actually found on the city's website, I will provide that to you. So first, yeah, like I was saying, we did the existing conditions report. Then we put together a draft plan. And then we worked on a street tree planting guide and a street tree manual, the street tree manual we didn't have, but we updated the city's tree planting guide, which is the list of appropriate street trees to plant. And then we started looking over at our municipal code to make updates to make it, consistent and up to date. Throughout this project, we've done a lot of community engagement. I'll talk about that here in a minute. So community engagement, we kicked off this project last August at First Friday, gathering input from residents, and then we went to movies in the park in September of last year to get additional information from the survey. We had an online survey up on our website. We put flyers out within the community, and we had I think about 160 or so respondents to the survey. So what we heard from Troutdale residents in the survey, we found that street trees are strongly valued. Safety was a top priority related to street trees. Falling branches and sidewalk damage is a concern. And residents would like to see additional trees in more urbanized areas, such as parking lots and in the industrial areas, and we'll talk about that in just a couple minutes. We had some questions about barriers to planting, and people are concerned about damage to sidewalks and property. And then there was a pretty much strong support for updated tree codes within the city itself. So our existing conditions report, which is Exhibit A. So this is just really a snapshot in time. It provides a baseline of data for the city to review over time. So the inventory documented almost 4,000 trees in Troutdale and attributes such as species, conditions, diameter, and diameter at standard breast height. And when we talk about trees in this plan, I want everybody to know that we are just talking about public trees. So trees that are in the rights of way and trees within parks and open space natural areas. So those are the trees that we are talking about. The top 10 species in Troutdale include Norway maples, pears, cherries, and dogwoods. 93% of the inventory trees are in fair and good condition, which is great. And the city's overall tree canopy is roughly 24.7%. So we have a fair amount of tree coverage in Troutdale, which is great. Yes.
This was a visual inventory?
Yes, so the data was collected in several different ways. So we can look at aerial views of the city and turn off our leaf canopy cover. And then our consultants, they have even more specialized data where they can go in and count trees and also look at the canopy cover in its whole and guesstimate how many trees are filling out that canopy cover.
So they're not like a Google car going down the street?
No.
My main question, which leads back to that, or refers back to that, is they weren't observing the trees on site, and And they didn't see the sidewalk damage probably. Inventory that.
Correct, so we did not inventory sidewalk damage through this project. We just looked at trees. And
Are the images good enough you could tell what type of tree?
yes,
And we know that some types of trees cause more damage than others. The roots are more to the surface.
correct.
That would be one way.
But I counted 3,777 trees.
Well,
I take issue with your number.
we might have planted a new one. And the lowest canopy coverage in the city was found in our industrial areas just north of I-84, which includes the airport, Amazon, FedEx, the levee.
I
In
kind
which
of
case you can't
understand the
have trees on
airport because there's a height
Right.
restriction, so tree canopy and,
Right.
yeah,
Height restriction.
It's understandable.
yeah.
And the medium density residential area had the lowest canopy out of the residential areas here in Troutdale. So the high density and low density residential areas had about 26 to 27% coverage.
And you brought up the levees. What's your tree plan for the levee?
Yep. And when you touch the levee with any sort of development, we have to reach out to the urban flood. Help me
Water
out.
quality district.
Yeah, water quality district. It's too long. So our existing conditions takeaways tell us that we should be increasing species diversity because it'll help mitigate risks such as pests and diseases such as the emerald ash borer, which we're seeing more and more of within the metro area. There's the little bugs that will kill your ash trees, and many communities throughout the region have taken ash trees out of their preferred tree species to plant in planting strips and whatnot because they don't want to attract that pest. In this project, yes, Paul.
When you're measuring canopy, is the spread of the tree
Yes,
factor?
it is.
On our street, our
Yep.
maples were replaced by some vertical growing oak. That's not a canopy.
Correct, right. And in our updated street tree planting list, there is a column that talks about canopy coverage. So if you are interested in planting a new tree, you can actually look at that column to see which tree has the most canopy spread if you're looking to increase shade on your property. So it's a helpful tool. We are really emphasizing to plant the right tree in the right place to help mitigate future risks to sidewalks and future risks to utilities and whatnot. That's kind of our big takeaway throughout this project is people should be planting the right tree in the right place. And the goal for our canopy coverage here in the city, we can use a range of 25 to 30%. So as you can see, we're getting close to that 25% with our 24.7% canopy coverage already. And then when we go out and prioritize planting trees in parks and open spaces and incentivizing people to plant trees in their planting strips, we should really be prioritizing those areas that have the least amount of tree coverage. And then we should be maintaining and tracking this data over time because that's important.
What time of year do we gather the data?
Because we have so many aerial footage, like photographs throughout the year, we can look at the entire time frame of a year to see that. Yeah.
I'm getting at the.
And we can look, and we looked at multiple years. So we just didn't look at this year. We can go back through time as well to see if we have increased canopy coverage or if we've lost canopy coverage. So,
Yeah, in springtime I have really good canopy coverage. In wintertime I have really good lawn coverage.
yeah. So the Troutdale Urban Forest Management Plan document, so we've created a vision here. Troutdale's urban forest is envisioned as a healthy, diverse, and resilient system of trees that supports environmental quality, public safety, and community well-being. And we also recognize that trees are important, not just for their beauty, but also for their role of providing what we call like ecosystem services. They provide shade, water quality, they manage stormwater runoff, and provide wildlife habitat.
Soil stabilization.
Yep, that's also another one.
We're a city on a hill.
Good point. Good point. So we have 5 plan principles in this document. We want to maintain and enhance Troutdale's urban forest through sustainable practices and funding, provide training, education, and outreach in tree care maintenance to residents, and that's why we developed a street tree manual and guide for residents to learn and care for their street trees. And then we want to promote a diverse and resilient, pest-resilient urban forest. And we want to improve our data collection and monitoring and management of our trees to see how we're doing year to year. And then we want to make sure that we're integrating trees into city planning infrastructure and all sorts of different strategies here in the city to increase our canopy coverage. So our findings and recommendations in the plan document. So today, kind of a couple of challenges that we have are uneven canopy coverage. Like I said before, we have a kind of a low diversity in age balance and trees. We want to make sure that we are increasing our species diversity. And then we continue to have ongoing sidewalk utility and maintenance conflicts with trees. And so we want to make sure moving forward, when we speak to residents about planting street trees and their planting strips and also on their property, how they can mitigate conflicts with utilities and sidewalks. So we are planning ahead. So we've developed a new 2026 species list for the community. We developed a street tree manual, and we also need to think about and prepare for heat and drought issues and how we are going to mitigate for pests such as the emerald ash borer. And then we want to continue looking at this plan every 3 to 5 years to see how we're doing as well. So we also want to protect and maintain our high benefit trees. Those are the mature trees that we have in our parks and open space areas. And when we do go out and we plant new trees in our parks and open space areas with Friends of Trees and other organizations, we want to make sure that those young saplings survive as well. So we know that increased capacity is needed here in the city. We have one staff member that is a certified arborist, and that is Jonah, our park superintendent. And we just want to make sure that we are teaching other staff members about street trees, the benefits of street trees, where certain trees should and shouldn't be planted, so they can provide the proper information. We want to make sure that we have a good program for street trees. We want to invest, like I said, in staff development as well. And we want to make sure that funding for future tree planting and care also happen as well as making sure that we are doing routine care in our natural areas, and that we're responding to emergencies as well when they happen during ice storms, which occur out in this area during the winter. So our street tree guide, this is our community educational resource. It talks about the emerald ash borer, talks about our local tree regulations, and I want to emphasize that the city, we only regulate street trees. So if you have a tree in your backyard that you want to cut down, or even a tree in your front yard that you want to remove and replace, you don't have to go through the permitting process. If you want to remove the tree that's in your planting strip, then you would need to come to the city and fill out a free permit for you to remove that tree and to replace that tree. So we talk about planting guidelines in this guide. We talk about spacing, mulch, and root barriers. We highly emphasize folks to spend a little bit of extra money to install a root barrier when they're planting a new tree in their planting strip, because that root barrier can oftentimes help eliminate the lifting and cracking of sidewalks. Do all of you know what a root barrier is? It's like this sheet of plastic.
Right.
Okay, perfect. I'm not going to get into it. We talk about care guidelines with watering and pruning and other resources for people to turn to if they have more questions about tree care. So this is the street tree guide. This is the table of contents. I heard from the CAC last week that it would be nice to add additional information to this guide to talk about what people should be looking for when there is an unhealthy tree. And so we're going to be making some updates and including that information as well. So here are just some diagrams and renderings of information we have in that street tree guide that talk about spacing guidelines for street trees, how to select nursery stock. We talk about root correction and root correction processes. And there's a whole list of other information. And once again, I apologize that I didn't bring a hard copy for all of you to look at tonight, but it is up on our website. And then we are also looking at our municipal code, and we are looking at Title 13 in our municipal code that talks about street trees and tree planting. And we're just kind of like looking at the framework, making it more clear and comprehensive. We're adding some professional standards about arborist certifications, and clarifying what triggers a permit and what doesn't trigger a permit. And then we're also improving kind of the enforcement framework. Now, the code audit that is up online right now, it's a public draft review. We're already in the process of making some additional edits to that draft and making it more clear. So you'll probably will see a second public review draft come on board in July. And I'll get into next steps here, which talks about the process. So the public review documents are all up online for review. I encourage people to go through those documents if they see any changes or suggestions that they would like to relay staff. Please get a hold of us. We are making a list so we can update the plan documents and street tree planting list and guide before we take it to council on the 14th of July before they go on their 5-week summer break. The guide, the street tree list, and the plan are all adopted via resolution. But the code, the municipal code update takes, since it is an ordinance, it takes 2 readings. So that code update will be going to council probably in August or September, because I didn't want it broken up into 2 hearings before their summer break. Because people might forget what was in the code or even why we're doing it. So with that, I am more than welcome to take any questions, suggestions, edits that you may have.
All right, questions for staff? We will start with Commissioner Glantz.
Yeah, I kind of see a big hole in this, and that is fire safety. We had a grant about, I don't know, 5, 10 years ago, like almost $1 million federal money to get where homeowners could apply to get help getting trees that were within a certain distance of their home removed. And having been through the gorge fire before, and knowing how close that was, watching huge embers landing on my yard, I actually did have some of the trees that were right on top of my roof all removed to create a barrier around there. And I don't see anything in the spacing guidelines about how to keep that away from homes so you have a fire barrier to your home. And especially with, droughts and everything else, fire right now is always, a danger for us, especially with the Troutdale winds.
Yep. No, and that's a great point. And we do have that information online about creating defensible space around our home. We have those diagrams, so that is something that we can definitely put into the street planting guide. Thank you for that.
I have a few questions, but it's regarding this issue.
Go ahead.
So, yeah, my question has to do with what happened at the city council meeting yesterday with the woman that talked about the tree that broke up the sidewalk, and she's going to have to pay tens of thousands of dollars to repair the sidewalk. And you answered a question earlier before the meeting that the sidewalk in front of your house is your responsibility. Yet the city is who planted the trees, and the trees are in some cases causing the damage. My question is, or comment, has to do with, first, the 3,700 trees are street trees, so they're not park trees. They're not the trees in Imagination Station or that area. They're just the ones in that parking strip.
They're both.
Street. They include all those as well.
So when we talk about, this plan speaks to street trees and trees within our parks and open spaces.
How many?
Greenways.
Okay.
How many residential, how many homes are there in Troutdale? Didn't we talked about that? We had some number. We were talking about when we added the utility fee, the $15, and we said there were about 4,000 some?
There's 5 to 6.
More.
Right, closer to five-ish.
5,000-ish, okay. How often are there damage reports, sidewalk damage reports? How many per year?
Ooh, I would have to get that information from Public Works.
Okay. Can you guess? Can anybody just give a, here's where I'm heading.
And keep in
Doesn't
mind,
really
it's
matter.
complaint-driven.
It's complaint-driven.
Okay, what I'm saying is a $40,000, a $50,000 bill for that woman is impossible for her to bear, she claims. And I would say the same thing if it happened to a lot of people in front of their home.
Could make them lose their
If,
house.
what about considering an insurance type fund where every homeowner pays in, I know, $50 a year. So if there are 5,000 homes and they pay $50 a year, we all of a sudden have $250,000 in a fund to repair sidewalks in front of people's homes. Now, I don't know how much it costs normally to repair a sidewalk, and of course it depends. I know what's involved, what's broken, is it into the street, etc. But $50 for a homeowner annually $100, or that's what I'm saying, to do the math, how many residences exactly, how often are streets broken up, sidewalks broken up, how much are those repairs? If a $50 a year fee per homeowner treated as an insurance type, but the city manages that fund to send out people to repair the sidewalk in front of somebody for $30,000 or $40,000 that they wouldn't otherwise be able to afford. I just would like to throw that out there as a point of consideration, because $50 I could afford. When my sidewalk gets broken up, I can't afford $40,000 to have it fixed.
Since it's complaint driven, people aren't gonna complain. They're not gonna.
No, they're not gonna mention it.
Neighbor, because they know it's gonna cost them a fortune.
Until somebody trips
Until somebody trips
or
up.
on a bicycle falls and breaks bones
Or they're just mad at them.
Or they're just mad at them.
because they haven't. So the point is, there's an obligation to make sure that our sidewalks are safe.
So I remember when this came up before council, and it's really kind of always stuck in my craw.
They took it away. They used to have to do it.
Yeah,
Originally, it was the city who had to repair it, but they took that away and gave it to the homeowner.
it's always bothered me that we shifted the responsibility to the homeowner. Because that, in certain situations, can ruin a person.
And I was lucky enough to know someone that knew what could treat a plant back in when our subdivision was put in. So
Right.
we don't have that degradation in our sidewalk. But the other people around us have learned, and that didn't have trees, they have planted the same tree. But there are trees that they didn't know.
Developers planted them, the
Yeah.
city planted them, etc. What I'm saying is, because we're now introducing this subject to all the homeowners, businesses, etc., this is a good time to maybe introduce an option. Yeah, you're gonna get pushback, but the point is, if we're educating all the homeowners as to their street trees, and this is what you can do, permit, tear up the tree, put in a new tree, the kind of tree, oh, by the way, you know that if there's damage to the sidewalk, you're responsible, Mr. or Mrs. Homeowner, to repair that sidewalk. I mean, we're introducing all of that. It's a good time to at least introduce the topic, I think, to that we're floating the idea of an insurance type fund. And what we've determined is $47.50 a year, or some number, would allow you to be covered in the event that your sidewalk in front of your home is damaged.
I'm gonna play devil advocate in that. So when the cost of the sidewalk goes to repair that sidewalk for the city to come in, that insurance policy is gonna go up and up and up each time. And that homeowner who thought they were only gonna pay $50 a year is now paying $300 a year.
What you're speaking of is our current insurance model in the United States, which is based on profit. It's based on shareholders that want to make a profit, and so they have to recoup their losses. We're not talking about that kind of insurance. We're talking about a fund that is available to be used. Now, let me just also say, if it turns out that the average sidewalk repair is $100,000. We were talking about putting utilities underground. $1 million a block is what PGE would charge. Well, I don't know who you get to repair sidewalks, if that's subcontracted out or there are city workers that do that. Frankly, I don't know. But yeah, if it turns out to be $100,000 per issue, and there are 10 issues a year, you're talking about, yeah, we'd have to generate $1 million a year in a fund to be able to cover that, and that might just throw the whole thing out of whack.
What I'm saying is that the cost of doing that every year doesn't stay flat. People that repair the sidewalks, their wages go up. Everybody gets their piece of whatever it costs, the materials, the time, all that.
So that
So,
might change.
right, and therein lies the change. So then that city has to come back and say, I'm sorry, I'm gonna charge you now $150 because our costs have gone up.
You know what that's called? I mean, I'm not
No,
trying
I
to be
understand it, but-
condescending. It's called inflation.
Right, but.
And costs go up, and therefore fees go up. Our property taxes go up every year. Your homeowner's insurance goes up every year. It's inflation.
But the question is one more thing for us to pay. One more thing for us to pay.
That's right. We're in a city where we've had to suffer tremendous cuts. If we explained it, this gets me to the other point about the CAC. The CAC, I think, ought to have been the one to announce to people like that gentleman who talked about, why am I getting another $15 on my water bill? And why is it on a water bill when it's for police? Well, why isn't the Citizens Advisory Committee advising citizens, giving them information like that? Yeah, there's a website. Yeah, there's the newspaper that seems to be coming out after the fact with information. But anyway, that just it gets under my craw about the fact that our citizens are not being advised. Now we're talking about a concerted effort to advise our citizens about street trees.
I believe you can do a tree fee. I think you just have to steer away from calling it insurance because we can't get into an insurance game.
So what other communities have done regarding sidewalk and sidewalk repair is very similar to what you're talking about, Kevin. Other communities have adopted a sidewalk utility fee on their utility bills. A $5 to $10. You know what? I don't know if I've ever seen it more than $10. It's a month fee for residents, and that money comes in. It goes into the sidewalk fund, and then every year the city goes out and they typically have a sidewalk repair program that, and they will focus on one area of the city every year to repair hazardous sidewalks, and They put every program looks a little bit different in each city, but what you're talking about has been utilized in other jurisdictions.
That would control the cost because you only do so much at a time.
Yeah, but if you're gonna do that for sidewalks, then I suggest that if we're gonna go that route, that we put it out to the community well ahead of, and not just saying, well, we're gonna do this and then put it on your bill.
We are not making.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, through this plan.
If we go that direction, there has to be more, like you say, CAC, community involvement, so they know what, because when you slap another $10 on their utility fee, this is for your sidewalks, you're gonna go, what?
Exactly.
So you need just more information out up front before anything happens.
Yeah.
If it ever happens.
So through this, I think
We're going on a tangent.
We are.
through this planning process with this urban forestry plan and all the documents that come along with it, we are not proposing any policies to tax
Right.
or create a system to increase fees for the citizens to plant new trees. That is not what we're doing.
It's just an idea in its,
But it could be an idea in the future.
Right. In
I
the
hear, I
future.
hear everyone on that.
okay, now we beat that to death.
That is a policy decision for city council.
It
Yes.
is.
That's outside our wheelhouse.
That would be one for the council. I don't think it's a bad idea. I think we're gonna more than double their taxes here in a couple of years. And the utility fee has been such a positive thing
Oh, yeah.
so far.
Oh, yeah.
You do have a development requirement that, when new housing development goes in, for example, there needs to be a street tree every so many feet.
Correct. Yep.
So the city's kind of being a ticking time bomb for the homeowners, essentially.
Unless we plant the right kind of tree around us.
Right. So that's what we hope to do, is to plant the right tree in the right place.
Only bonsai trees from now on.
In the proper distance.
I really like Kevin's concept, though. I think it's excellent there. I did think of one area of disparity. Some people don't have a street tree in front of their house. Somebody has a corner lot, a whole lot of sidewalk. I think our neighbor next door to us is a corner lot. I think he has 4 street trees. We have 1.
So I have a corner lot, and I don't have a sidewalk yet. I've got such a beautiful tree right where the sidewalk is supposed to go through. And I didn't bought it that way,
Go around it.
so
Just get a permit to take that tree out.
do a detour.
Well, and
Oh, the
I,
city would let you do a detour? around?
Sometimes we take a look at those issues and we will like mitigate for large trees and wrap the sidewalk, behind it or in front of it.
It's a beautiful tree, yeah.
and I know the city has done where they've raised the sidewalk so it kind of rolls with the roots of the tree instead of cutting the
Okay,
roots.
nice, because we've got some old ones out there that would be nice to keep.
I know the park has done that by our house.
Can we touch on soil conditions at all?
In the plan itself, it talks about soil conditions for planting new street trees.
Yeah, from up above to down to the river, soil conditions change, which changes density, type of tree, and so forth.
I do like the fact that you're introducing what to look for in a tree that is dying or a tree that needs to be pruned up or, to be managed so it doesn't.
Conflict with the garbage man?
Right. Or the mailman.
Or the street signs.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. The street signs, very good.
Okay. Any question?
I'm good.
A lot of my stuff was actually, Erica's gonna die when she hears this. More Municipal driven. And
Yeah, and like I said, we are already starting to go through that document and update it with additional changes.
it's like a couple things we list. Topping is an improper practice. And a lot of arborists top trees all the time. It's a very common practice.
It's common with PGE, unfortunately, but I think a good arborist is not gonna go in and actually top a tree.
I had a
Because it isn't the best.
neighbor prune a tree to no higher than I am. I think you killed it.
It is a common practice. It's done quite a bit.
No
Yeah,
branches,
they've
no
taken it
leaves
down
left.
to the stump and then it comes back. I mean,
There's hope.
the trunk. Well, some trees do, but, we had an arborist come in and prune ours up and back because they were encroaching on the garbage truck and the mailman. The one in back, we had him prune it up, but he didn't do anything else. But we also had an issue, we thought it was dying. And he said that it had something called Brucella. And he said it's either gonna die or it's gonna survive. Well, it survived and it's thriving. So he said if it doesn't survive, then we can't plant anything in that,
soil because it's a fungus.
with that variety of tree. So we kind of know who to ask. He was smart enough to tell us, because I didn't know. So the fact that you're discussing what to look for helps too, because
Yeah,
we don't
that's a
know.
good idea. Another neighbor's tree got diseased and the wind took it down. It wasn't pretty.
No.
13.10.06, A, this is contributions and funding for trees. A street tree funds raised by a local improvement district, which I didn't know that many of them are LIDs. Street trees collected from new developments and fees in lieu of replanting shall be expended by the director for the planning and maintenance of street trees in accordance with section 13.10. But then we get to B, a separate fund shall be established and maintained for revenues and expenditures created by the street tree program.
What is that?
That was my question.
Well, there we have it.
I mean, I'll take a look at that. I think it's just creating a separate fund so we can look at our maintenance costs like over time. But I'll take a look, and that was B.
Thank you. And then I know it's technically the legal part, but the liability where, property owners adjacent to street trees shall be liable to any person who's injured, otherwise suffers damage by reason of a property owner's failure to maintain a street tree. I don't know what to say about it. I just think it's and then the other thing, 13.10.100, business license required. Anyone doing arborist work has to buy a city business license.
And that's, just like any contractor doing work in the city, they have to come in and get a business license through the city.
I think now they just have to get a permit.
If you do any sort of business in Troutdale, you need a business license.
Now, does
So if
that,
you're an arborist, a plumber, an electrician, you need a permit or a business license and a permit. Typically, you need both.
Okay. We require a business license of anybody working in the city.
Yes.
Okay. That's $80 in about 4 hours to fill that application out.
I'll fill it out for you. I only charge $200.
Thank you. That might be more money.
might be worth it.
Yeah, I don't like paperwork.
Let's see. And all street trees must be replaced at 1-to-1 ratio. And so, if we took the tree out and we put another one in, make sure the roots are all dead.
We have our city arborists go out and typically take a look at how it's been replanted and what's there, and they sign off on it.
And 13.10.150, we're talking about replacement trees. And on CA, sub C, paragraph A, an in lieu payment for each tree removed but not replaced on site for development.
I knew you were gonna get to this one, Tanny, because this is on my list.
Okay, in the amount of $1,600 per tree.
Say that again?
Is that a gold-plated tree?
I gotta bring it up.
No, what is that for? What?
Okay, so if you take a tree out and don't replace it, you have to
Oh.
pay $1,600 per tree.
So, that includes a resident? Or is that a business?
That includes a resident. So
I think it's considered, it's a penalty. It's to try to get you to not remove the trees.
Where's the money go?
Yeah. Sidewalk information here?
into the street tree fund.
We don't have one.
We do. We have a tree. We have a tree
You have a
fund.
tree fund?
Yes, because we're a Tree City USA, and we have been for. Do you know how many?
Well, Street Trees has a budget item.
I want to say
Not
maybe
anymore,
about
we spent it.
16
Well,
or more years.
there's a line item.
More than a couple of decades.
Since any city that's a part of the Tree City USA program has to have a tree budget within their code. That's a requirement.
Oh, so we could have got more from when that guy took our tree out.
But Tanny, thank you for bringing that up because I've been talking to folks about that number.
That should go into the brochure.
Can they get a variance?
You remove a tree, $1,600.
If you don't report,
We gotta, to be forewarned, is to be forearmed, right?
Right.
So,
Okay, so next question would be removal of trees. It looks like in an emergency situation, someone from the city or the county or whoever has to approve a tree. So my question would be, street tree or any tree in a right of way, correct? Any tree on public property.
Yep.
So tree falls down. On someone's house or in the road, what is the structure for removing the tree?
During an emergency.
Yes.
So if it's an emergency, call the city and let us know what happened. And we will typically say, go ahead and take out that tree. We will do like a retroactive permit
Okay,
because we don't want to waste any time during an emergency.
right. And I'll just say, my last experience with this was, it was during an ice storm. And, and so the tree just got cut up, so the road could be open. Wouldn't want people going to jail or anything.
Yeah, that brings up a good point. What if it's an act of nature takes out the tree?
yeah,
Right.
We're not gonna go charging them for it, are we?
you might be,
Well, we could.
we could.
If you look through the decades, the only time I've pushed back on things is when we're forcing people to do things that are unsafe or just really bad logic. You know, like planting too many trees in an area for the soil conditions, that sort of thing. Or they need to take out a tree because it's ruining the foundation of their house. I don't expect them to endure that. Well, then the question is, do they have another good spot on their property in order to plant another tree? Maybe they do, maybe they don't. I don't know. Can we ever review this? Can they ever, there are certain circumstances that we didn't foresee, can they bring it up and possibly have it waived? That's the question.
granted a variance.
Yeah. For reasons of safety or, you know, foundation or whatever. they already have too many trees. I don't want to penalize somebody who's planted a bunch of trees on their property and now they don't have a place for another one, but one's planted in a bad spot. You know what I mean? Too many trees for the soil conditions would be a problem. Certainly, we've got to have some way of recourse. And the law doesn't fit the situation.
And then we talk about,
What's the process?
Through our review process for.
Just here? Okay.
we talk about that the plan gets reviewed every 5 years.
Well, we would like, I mean, it's not set in stone, but
You said 3 to
we
5.
would like the plan to be reviewed every 3 to 5 years. You know, it's all dependent on staff time, our resources, and
Can we say we review the plan as needed?
So if it's needed to be updated, like, let's say Salem says we need to do this because of this, then we can update it. We'll not have to wait 5 years to update it. Or as needed, maybe we don't need to update it for a while,
Or maybe we do.
or maybe we do. Salem might throw something up.
They're the worst for understanding local conditions.
Who is?
Salem.
Okay, yeah, that's what I had for the moment.
let me know if you would like a hard copy of all the documents and I will get those to you. Otherwise, you can go onto our website and review all the information that's there. But I've taken down some excellent notes tonight to incorporate some future changes, so thank you.
Thank you for putting up with this.
Yeah.
As we go down a rabbit hole.
It is a pretty area when you fly over by plane due to the trees, so.
Is there cottonwood eradication?
Cottonwood Eradication Fund.
So yes, you shouldn't be planting cottonwoods or tree of heaven and Japanese knotweed. Those are all on the naughty tree list.
What's a Japanese
Knotweed,
knotweed?
it's a plant you don't want.
Okay.
I think it's knapweed.
Knotweed, oh.
It's, it tends to grow a little bit.
Over.
It's like bamboo. If you don't put it in a pot, it grows everywhere.
Oh, God. Gotta be outlawed.
Yeah.
There is no root-bound type
They're ribosomes.
Kevlar that
Oh,
you
metal works.
to try to stop,
Metal works. It has to go down about 4 feet.
yeah, for a while,
Yeah.
it works. You know,
So there, yeah, dogwoods need to, like, it looks like it snows. And the dogwoods are,
And cherries.
Those are the cottonwoods.
Dogwoods, cherries, cottonwoods.
I love it, but I know people that really have a hard time when that's
with
happening.
allergies is what causes it,
Yeah, and I feel for their suffering.
Woods are the worst.
Cottonwoods are the worst.
If you need any, I can get you cutting.
But no, I'm finding roots from the arborvitae on 2 sides of my
We're
yard.
supposed to be nice to each other.
So that's I mean, they're planting arborvitae and some are like 10 feet tall and goes through my fence, so I keep it cut so it stays green under there because one wrong thing and the whole thing will psht. So I was hoping they wouldn't do that. That's okay.
Okay. Back up again.
Staff communications, all right. Last Friday was our first Friday of the summer. We are not having a first Friday in July because Fourth of July. So our next one will be in August. We are having a community celebration Saturday, Saturday, June 20th from 10 to 1 p.m. We're going to be celebrating our new Sharon Nesbitt Heritage Park.
It's 10 to 1.
Thank you for
10 to 1.
bringing that up again. I have the
Yep.
wonder.
And we are kicking off the day with a strolling parade at 10 o'clock. We are all meeting at Mayor Square and we will walk down to the overlook at the park with a marching band and some other fun creatures, maybe a llama or two, and some dancers. And so that'll be a fun way to kick off the day with the community. And there'll be some free snow cones and churros. So come on out. It'll be a good time with family and friends. And to celebrate this new wonderful community asset that we have. Our next planning commission will be in August because we're going to be taking a little hiatus in July. So
Council can do it, we can do it too,
At least one.
Yeah.
right?
that's right.
That's what we said.
So we'll be coming back in July and, we'll be coming back in August, and on that agenda will be the the amendment to create a local historic district in our community, the first one. And we will also be taking a look at a work plan to update our sign code. That is it. That's all I have.
Thank you for bringing that up and for the various jurisdictions that were involved. It turned out beautiful. So very happy to see that. That's trout dish. Make up a word there.
Troutfish.
Trout dish. Or yeah, that's a lot like us. So thank you.
Thank you for all your hard work, all your staff. We appreciate you. You don't know how much we appreciate you.
We're a challenge.
Yeah, we're a handful. But thank you. And that's all.
Commissioner Glanz.
Yep. Thanks, Shirley, for doing the TCAP assignment. That's greatly appreciated.
Thank you very much. Putting all that together and going over it again and again. And one more time next week. I've heard it twice, but it landed better today. I've had a chance to mull it over. Let me throw out one last comment about what I suggested before, is that I often find there's good ideas that get presented. They're often pushed off because, quote, we're not dealing with that right now. We're doing this. And then that gets pushed out. And then sometime later, when all of this is forgotten, now we can get to this other related idea. It's like, oh, well, we'll get back to that, in a couple of years. And now it becomes a whole rigmarole to revisit, why are we? So I just would love to see, better involvement by the CAC to be that communication to citizens arm of things like that. So they talked about having a booth at First Friday. They should be distributing those when you get them finished, and putting out polling. What do you think about a fund for taking care of the sidewalk in front of your house, and so when it's brought to people's attention, they can start talking about all the related issues rather than let's put it off until we get to it. So that's my concern. Otherwise, thanks again.
It's our job to crush the good ideas.
Crush the good ideas?
Yeah, we're the government. Now, if we got some bad ones, hey, I'm all ears.
I thought our job was to approve every variance that is requested. That's all. We're just a rubber stamp, right? No, I'm completely kidding about that idea.
I know.
Thank you.
Commissioner Wilcox.
Back to sanity.
First, a question for Erica. The CAC meeting, you mentioned something about project for the Troutdale Station parking lot, overflow lot. North end,
Right next to the,
the gravel lot.
oh, yes, we had a pre-app with that property owner who, is thinking about putting up a future development on that site.
Dakota told us that much. So that's all you can say?
I know in the pre-app, the drawing was for a 7,000 square foot building. That was it. That was all the information that we had. We just had a site plan that laid out the building location and location for parking.
Well, let's see. Got a few items related to the gateway, all the gateway overlay. I don't want to do a full session here, but got a few items I'd like to be addressed. I know we won't meet again until the second hearing for council, so it'll be kind of, have decided what they're going to do, or I suppose they could kick it back to us. The things I wanted to ask about is our meeting, the recommendation was forwarded to council. There were amendments made, or at least one or two amendments made. Number 7, incentive in particular, related to parking. And my question was, came to the end, a motion was made to hold the recommendation with amendments. It felt like the amendments should have been voted on before it became a part of the recommendation. So it was kind of a procedural question that I had. Rules, opinions on that?
I don't have any opinions on that. I think procedurally it could go both ways. You could vote on the amendments, what they should be before taking a vote on the overall package, or you could wrap it all up into one motion. It sounds like that's the way it occurred at that meeting. I can ask our city attorney what is preferred.
Okay, another item on my list, when the recommendation staff report to council, there was pro and con testimony. Pro testimony was in written form. The opposing testimony was oral. All that council saw was the written. So that kind of lopsided, in my opinion. It seemed like the council should have either been referred to the recording of the oral or a transcript of the oral.
So in the updated staff report to council here, we will be updating that staff report and listing all verbal and written testimony.
So the oral will be transcribed.
Correct.
Let's see, just one other actually related to the classifying of Halsey Quarter as being subject to CFIC. Original ruling, this goes back quite a ways, that was classified under CFIC. It was based on Route 77. Route 77 is on a half-hour schedule. And there were also there are a total of four lines that are in Troutdale: 77, 81, 20, and 25. 81 and 25 are also on a half-hour schedule. Line 20 is actually a frequent 4-hour schedule. Actually brought along a copy of the DLDD description or rules of that. Pass these around. One of my questions was if 77 is CFPC restricted, why would 81 and 25 not be? My listening question is, if you look at this text, let's see, under 3B, it says orders, this is where CFIC is going to require that you have a parking mandate. 3B states, orders with transit service arriving with a scheduled frequency of at least 4 times an hour during peak service.
Line 20 does. Right.
Line 20,
Yep.
20 qualifies under 3B. That hasn't been classified, that hasn't been mapped off as CFIC restricted.
Right, and so I have a message into DLCD staff to talk about that. Because as we know, TriMet schedules change or can change throughout the year. They're going to be reducing frequencies here in August and in next spring. And when CFEC started a couple of years ago, bus routes had different frequencies based on their routes. I know CFEC says that the city's map can be updated and reviewed once a year, and we can make changes. So I have a couple questions into DLCD about this issue.
Will that include Metro now cutting, they cut services that are not, I mean, we just got 25 just a year ago. And I'm seeing that because we're not a high volume transit, that we may end up getting routes cut or significantly once an hour.
Reduced.
Just for clarification, so when I was on the transportation committee, I went by bus quite a bit, RMAX, right? And so what you see, I don't think this has changed, but the during peak service hours is important here because in the evening, your frequency becomes less.
Yep.
And I think it was around 7, maybe somewhere around there, if I remember correctly, service just dropped completely and I'm walking home. So if I got delayed at work, I'm walking. So bus service all the way out here, not so good.
Well, I mean, just after a certain amount of time, if you're like working at the Shell but live maybe a quarter mile, half a mile down the road, you have to walk home at 10 o'clock at night. And on 257th, the lighting is not real good. Even now, it's still not real good for walkers. So if you have to walk home, you're taking a chance that the odds that something may happen to you.
I'd like to know, do the transit lines 77, 81, and 25 fall under 3A? Are they considered priority transit corridors? Because somehow, line 77 falls under CFEC.
Yes.
We've been over that. Well, it doesn't arrive or up to 4 times an hour.
Correct.
But is it considered a priority transit corridor then?
Well, then, okay, then you go down to page 3C. It says, the community has no corridor qualifying under subsection B. Corridors with the most frequent transit service in the community, scheduled frequencies at least
Once per hour. Okay, so it'd be under 3C.
But the bone I'm picking is the word if, after the C in parentheses. It's under B, line 20 satisfies that requirement.
So then 77 would be exempted.
And keep
Quite possibly, and we would have to update our map.
Right. And 81 and 25 would be exempted.
Right, that's my
Your
point.
point.
Yeah.
And keep in mind, different lines may have different service hours,
Yeah. Because I know one
different
goes,
service hours and
isn't
frequencies.
there one that goes down through, by FedEx and that for that shift change?
Yeah, I
Yes.
think that's the better one, yeah.
On the weekends,
Yeah.
they have a different schedule.
It says in here, all that you need is frequent service during peak hours. That could be
Maybe 1 hour.
8 to 9 in the morning and 4 to 5 in the evening. And the rest of them could be every half hour.
Shamika?
So this, to me, is pretty straightforward. It defines it clearly. I'm still getting the impression that we're not sure about line 77, 25, and 81. Because that whole Halsey corridor we talked about at many sessions, that was CFEC, half mile as the crow flies.
Correct.
From the line 77 is all under CFEC. Well, reading this, it isn't. I don't know why there's a question.
That's why I make it an issue.
Thank you. Well,
It's things because frequencies have changed,
Yeah.
and
but as of today, right now, line 77 is exempt. We don't have to draw a half an hour line through Halsey corridor. It doesn't apply because of bus 20. That's
what she's asking.
possibly, and that's my point.
I am getting a clear answer from the state on this issue. Because frequencies of bus routes have changed.
But
Salem.
I understand.
But
This is written, this is code. Bus 20 meets 3B. Today.
Right.
Okay. So 77, 81, and 25 are exempt
we might-
today.
Well, I'm getting that clarification from the state.
before we do anything,
If we get a bus every half an hour for like 2 hours a day, we're good.
yeah, when I see these people standing out there in the wintertime and
No.
wait an hour for.
4 times an hour. Every 15 minutes, then exempts every other corridor,
That's my reading.
Exempts everything else.
everything else. And bus 20 meets that criteria.
This needs to be cleared up because I'm confused now.
It doesn't confuse me. What confuses me is that we're confused about this.
That makes sense.
Well,
I'm not confused about it, Kevin. I just want to,
You want to be clear,
I just wanted to
clarify.
clarify from the state so I can give everyone a proper answer.
For this moment in time.
For this moment in time.
It changes when the representatives meet again. Right.
it is confusing because CFEC was written and TriMet has a standard of frequent service is every quarter hour. The state came back and said, okay, for this purpose, frequent service is every half hour.
Right. So let me
And then
relate,
the service level changed.
I understand, but let me relate this to tax code. Tax code changes every year. Changes a couple of times a year in some years. But what is the law at any given point
Right.
is the law. That's the tax code. It's in code. Except for the IRS may have to have some, whatever, interpretation, because they can't figure out what the hell Congress meant. But barring that, we have to operate according to the law today.
And we do.
We do.
And we do.
So as of today,
As of today, if somebody came in with
the Halsey corridor is
and then-
exempt from CFAC.
Commissioner Minkoff, let me speak here for a minute. So if a land use application came in that is on line, 20, I believe, what's the one in front of the hospital on Stark? Is that line 20?
Yeah.
So if an application came in today along that line, we would go back and we would take a look at this rule because in the rule information, it says we have to implement what's in the state transportation planning rule. We don't necessarily have to codify it within our municipal code. If it's in the transportation planning rule, we have to implement it. So we are
Right. I understand that.
implementing.
Well, what Paul has brought up, which I am dovetailing my comments to, is if somebody wanted to develop along Halsey, we would not have to restrict them according to CFAC today, because it doesn't apply.
Quite possibly, I'm clarifying that answer through the
I
state.
understand. I'll let it go there, and I'll be anxious to hear what the clarification is.
That's what we're trying to figure out.
More question, not related. Related to Halsey, but not parking or slightly urban service. When Dakota was presenting to council, first hearing, he said something to the effect that mixed use, get the height bonus, mixed use, would be vertical mixed use. It would be vertical mixed use. That's why they needed the extra height. Is there anything to prevent them doing something like the byway in Wood Village? So, I mean,
Can you fill me
you're
in?
saying they have to do mixed use. Mixed use could be horizontal. Have 1 story of commercial, 4 stories of residential.
There's nothing that would prevent that from happening. So if a developer came in and chose to do a horizontal mixed-use development, something similar to the byways, that would be permitted.
I'm sure that was your intent, but
Are the byways
that's
successful
a possibility.
or not?
What's that?
I'm not familiar. Are the byways successful or not?
Filled all their retail space, I think.
After how many years?
Is that
They're thriving or getting by or struggling? Do we know?
I wouldn't
your point, they'd be better off vertical?
Oh, I was just wondering what the level of concern was, right? Because if they do horizontal and we don't want horizontal, then we probably should address it. So you seem to have experience with another area that has already tried this, and I was just ascertaining whether it was successful or not.
Seems to be working at the moment.
Okay.
The other question, I guess, would be, would we even have any parcels that would entertain that?
Entertain what?
Room
Horizontal?
to do commercial?
It's all about design.
Yeah. Yeah, probably could.
I do know that when my wife and I walk too far without any place interesting to see, then we will stop and turn around and go back.
Whether it's
Age where
mixed
we-
use or not. Yeah.
Yeah, if you got too much residential and no store to visit, then you probably will eventually turn around. I don't think we're alone in that.
Okay, a couple. One, I wanted to touch on the vote that we did on the text amendments. You're correct. As I look back on it, I mean, typically probably would have done that in 2 motions, but it is a type 4. It's a legislative hearing, not a quasi judicial. So it's a recommendation. So it was kind of a package. I mean, I think if I was going to do it again, I probably would have done it separately, just for clarity, but I don't think it caused any technical issues or anything because it was a type 4 hearing. And then along that lines, the text amendments went to council at their last meeting. And they worked on it, and they asked a lot of interesting questions, and they tabled it to their July meeting, which will be July 14th, when they're taking it up again. And they have several options. One would be to approve it. The other would be to amend it. They could deny it, or they could send it back down the chute. That's about it, isn't it, for options? So don't know what they're going to do. They certainly were challenged by some of the CFEC, some of that. When that came up. But they did spend a lot of time on it, which I think it deserves. Because we spent a lot of time on it. Okay, and then the other thing is, and the alternate position would be up the end of this month, but Frank Stevens resigned from that position last week. He resigned from the alternate position, and so we don't have an alternate, and we won't have an alternate going forward.
So you're telling us we can't?
Yeah, so really what that means is that your jobs are more secure than what they were, right? We don't have somebody right in there to pull in and replace you, so we're kind of stuck with each
Your
other.
estate plan has been nullified.
Yeah.
Your salary might be reduced, but,
Oh, yeah.
but other than that,
In other words, you're really not going anywhere, so to speak. And then the other thing is, always try to bring up some of these, but next Monday, the Public Safety Working Group will be meeting. And next Tuesday, the council will have a work session on police services. And then they have a URA meeting, and then they'll probably be going back into a work session on police services, and that starts at 6 o'clock Tuesday night, if anyone's interested. I anticipate there's probably going to be quite a few of these meetings. There's been a lot talked about on social media and online. But I think probably the best thing people can do, because there's a lot of information out there, coming from a lot of different sources, and just as much as you can, just try to tune into the meetings and hear what's being said.
Thank you.
And I think that's probably the best thing to do. Get the best information and the most accurate information that you can. And I want to thank you for all your work on this. This thing's kind of a monster. Going through it, and I was cross-eyed after just a short period of time. But I want to thank you all for your time this evening, and enjoy your vacation next month.
Yeah, 250 years.
From this.
No, I know, but
We have not been doing this 250 years.
celebrating our 250th birthday.
Right.
But no, I want to thank everyone, and with that, we'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I so move.
I second.
Okay, we have a motion, second to adjourn. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we are adjourned. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sadie.
See you August 12th.
Great.